Hey everybody, welcome back to the Pardonal Podcast. Well, Pardonal Live, same thing. It's all the same thing, same picture. Welcome back. It's been a hot minute. If you don't know this, I took 2 weeks off. Had a lot of stuff going on, and I'm back. I'm back after 2 weeks. Hopefully, everybody's okay. I see the world is somewhat falling apart. We're going to talk about it tonight. We're just going to hang out. I did a little bit of preparation, but we're just going to talk about a few things. Some of the things that I missed after being gone for this uneventful 2 weeks. We had the LP convention that I talked about. Didn't cover that. Probably not going to cover a whole lot of that. That was a big, just everyone talked about. I'm not really going to talk about it. Um, we had the Fauci's testifying. We got Trump being convicted on a bunch of accounts. We got Hunter Biden, and his whole trial thing going on. We got Biden pooped his pants in France. Macron is just destroying Parliament right now and throwing off elections. What else we got? Disney drops the Acolyte, the new Star Wars that comes out. We're definitely going to talk about that towards the end. Did I forget anything? Oh, Alex Jones getting raided by the FBI and Steve Bannon going to jail. So I don't know if you know this, but this election year is really starting to kick off. Oh, and again, bird flu. That's a thing now, and people are getting affected. So stock up on your chickens now because probably won't be available here shortly. But before we get started, if you like this podcast, you're like, man, I love this guy. This guy's great. You can always go to my website, pardonwell.com. Check it out. It's what it looks like. I'm still in the middle of setting it up. Some things are up, some art. You can go here and peruse some of the comic art I have, and you can click on them, and it'll take you to my Etsy where you can purchase those and all that. You can go to merch, check out all my merch. I got some sweet merch up there. I'm going to be adding more to this as this month goes along. I'm going to really clean up this website. But either way, pretty cool stuff on here. There's an R2 since we're talking about Star Wars. You can go there and purchase it. All kinds of sizes, all kinds of colors. You know the thing. You know what we do. Anyway, that's where we're at. All right. Oh, one of the thing that happened while I was gone that I'm going to talk about mostly today is my boy Dave Smith debated Chris Cuomo, formerly of CNN host, and they did a debate talking about the COVID stuff. That's why the title of this is Hindsight, circa 2020. Thought that was fairly clever because I'm a clever person. But anyway, you're like, David, that happened like 2 weeks ago. It did, and I haven't been on here to talk about it. So it's my show. I can do what I want. We're going to talk about it. I'm going to show you some of the parts that I like the most, and we're going to chat about those. And then we'll probably get into the Trump thing, because I'm going to give you my ideas about that. That's going to wrap in with a little bit of the Libertarian Convention. A lot of libertarians out there are feeling disenfranchised by their new nomination. And so, like I was talking about earlier, don't know if any of these libertarians are going to vote for Trump. Looks like they are. Me being one of them. If I can call myself a libertarian. Not sure if I qualify quite a bit. So I just normally don't jump in there, but like, I'm a libertarian, because they wouldn't like me there. Gonna try to stay awake. It's my first cup of coffee. It's been a long day, so I'm gonna do my best. Gonna try to have jokes. Probably not. It was a pretty dumb 2 weeks that I missed, so we got to catch up. Let's go here. We're gonna start with this debate. I'm gonna set this thing up real quick and get it to where we can watch this thing. Let's go full screen. Oh, by the way, chat is open, so if you guys have something to say, you guys want to chit chat with me, you're more than welcome. Let's go here. Let's do it like this. I know it's split screen. Just deal with it. Deal with it. All right. So before we press play, it's just I'm starting at a clip. Right. This is like the full thing, but I'm gonna start at this one section that I thought was pretty cool. These are the ones of this debate. So this whole thing was talking about COVID. Chris Cuomo being on the left side, CNN was all gung ho for the for all the COVID regime stuff that happened. Dave Smith being a libertarian, and on the opposite spectrum, people would say far right. He probably is far right now. I don't know. Everyone's far right that isn't inside of the machine, and so he's far right. And they've been having this debate going back and forth about what the people should have known, how the media portrayed it. And the reason why I wanted to bring this up, even though it's so old, is again, this whole live podcast thing. If I was going to say it's one thing, it's I just despise corporate media. I despise the propaganda, and I hate people pretending like I'm dumb. If I'm dumb, let me be dumb, but don't just assume it right off the bat. And I think the media does that to almost every American. They think you're stupid. And so anytime something like this pops up and we get a good hearty debate, and I mean the ratings came out, the polls were shown, Dave just destroyed Chris Cuomo. And I let's watch this and I'll give you my take on it.
Do is they destroyed the lives of tens of millions of people. And by the way, Chris, this is why there's so much anger about this stuff, okay? This is why people are so furious and why people do kind of want to see somebody, because listen, I give you a lot of credit for doing this. Like, I really am grateful to you for being on this stage with me here. The thing about it is like, I think from my perspective, and I really do think I speak for millions of Americans when I say this is all we get. You. Like, there's no one else. Fauci's never going to do a debate like this. None of the other top establishment scientists will go. Well, hold on. Let me just finish my point. Let me finish my point. Yeah, because they're cowards and they're wrong. None of them will go on Joe Rogan's podcast, right? What did he end up? You remember the pot that was offered for that doctor who was like everyone.
I'm going to stop it there because that's basically it. When I was listening to this for the first time, and he said that, a bit of me chuckled and a bit of me, my heart sank a little bit because Dave's right. This is all we're going to get. And I know a lot of people out there was like, but that was so long ago and we all kind of got through it. And it was no, I don't know if, and he goes on in this whole thing. I don't know if you hate corporate media enough yet. I don't know if I hate them enough. I utterly despise what happened in that whole era. Not because I fell for a few things, and I live in New York, and masks were pretty much mandated everywhere, and I didn't have quite a problem with it for the first month, and then after that, I was like, this is all starting to look dumb. And then as things kind of rolled out with the mandates and the passports and the old vax stuff, all of it was just, if you had any sense about you were like, no, this isn't. You're giving out what? Lotto tickets and hamburgers, like these incentivizations just to get this thing. This seems super fishy. Oh, you're handing it out to minority groups first. Do you guys remember that? Like all of it was red flags. And I don't know if it's just me and I have some weird sense of discernment, like the Holy Spirit just pinging things off my head, but all of it was fishy. And I was like, all right, you give people grace, but like 2 years into it, and I'm getting messages from the White House from Joe Biden being like, you prepare, all the unvaccinated are going to get a winter of illness and death. You're going to seize up the hospitals. Like, bro, we're 3 years into this, and you've just lied to us, lied to our face. And here's the thing: this is why it irritates me, and this is why I'm happy. And I even said this on Twitter. I congratulate Chris Cuomo for offering himself up to be publicly humiliated. Now, I don't know if he knew this, but I think he had a sneaking suspicion that he was going to go in there, and he didn't say, I'm sorry. I'm skipping all that, but he didn't apologize. And he's not going to. He's a snake and he's slimy. And he deserves ridicule. And so, but I do thank him for doing this, because he could easily just because no one else will. No one else is going to come out and have this debate. And Dave's right, because they're all cowards. At least Chris was brave enough to come and sit down with Dave and do this. So I'm very thankful for him for that. But the sad part is this is all we get. And they, everybody wants you to kind of just forget about, and go watch, if you haven't watched this whole debate, go watch it. And if you're not just violently irritated at the answers that were given. And the reason why I think people are so frustrated, even being this far out, is because there was no retribution. And then even today, people just either the left, most of the left either acts like none of the things they said were true. Cuomo did that constantly, like, oh, we never said that. And then they just played clips of them saying it. That was the one thing you get. Or two, they're still standing by, being like, no, we're right. And, you should go get boosted. Go get boosted right now. Go get like 6 of them. And so the fact that we know they're lying, we know that they're lying. We know that they know that we know that they're lying, just makes it even more irritating. And you might be a little bit more kind-hearted, not have a vendetta like I do towards these people. And you might be like, people make mistakes. They were doing the best they could. It is what it is. That's fine. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you for having that type of patience. I don't have that. And I'm not, that will never go away from me. Like I will never. That's the whole reason I'm even on camera right now, is because these people need to be called out. And even if it's like, oh, it's a small little podcast, what good are you doing? Don't care. It's more voices. just tell them the truth that it was ridiculous and it was nonsense, and they're still doing it. They're never going to stop. So what we need is more people. I know everybody and their mom has a podcast talking about stuff. That's fine. More of them. Everybody go out and make a podcast. Everybody go make a podcast and talk about how much the media sucks, because they do. And if there's one thing I can ask for this next election coming up, is one particular person to win, is because I would like to see how far down the media can fall. I'd like to see all their failures. I like for them to just grovel in misery when they can't collect themselves to figure out why Trump won. That's the thing I want. And so that's probably top priority why I would vote for Trump. I can't stand these people. Anyway, we're going to keep going. That was the first. I got two more I want to point out. There's two more parts of this, and I got to find it because I didn't download this video and cut it up. So hopefully I hit the right spot. So this next thing, and this is where it's the whole thing's irritating, but it gets even more irritating. So the next segment, they're talking about their reactions towards the media, since we're talking about propaganda, and how you should feel, and what you're allowed to feel and what you're not allowed to feel towards the media. That's what they're going to talk about. So we're going to go. Let me find it. We're going to go. We'll start a little bit further back. We'll start right here.
Just to be clear here, just in case, because all this time gets muddled together, okay? Yeah. These are the later variants. The vaccine was not available for the first variant, okay? The vaccine was not available. Like, these are all the later variants are what we're talking about here.
No, that's not true. You had it for the second and third, and then it really dropped off. The first look, again.
This part.
The idea that you guys enjoy the owning, I think, is part of the problem, okay? I know there's something satisfying about it, and it works great for media and for clips and to get you enragement. But it doesn't move the ball.
Chris, man, you're telling me we could play that video of the way you and all your colleagues demonized the unvaccinated? Were they not trying to own us? It's only I'm the one who wants to own.
Vaccinated,
no, it's in response.
Not getting vaccinated mattered.
Yes, it's in response to all of you guys trying to own us for years from all of the halls of power.
Fine.
That now that you were wrong about everything, we're going to point that out.
Fine.
Yes.
No, hold on. Two things.
It's right. Dave's right here. And when I heard that, I immediately blew a vessel. I blew a vessel. So Chris Cuomo chalks all this stuff up, the debate, the way all these people online are talking about how much they hate corporate media, why all their things are tanking. He's talking up, it's like you guys just bring this COVID stuff up because you want to own the libs. That's all it is. It's not he thinks you're dumb. He thinks, and here's the reason why we're gonna go further into this. He doesn't just think you're dumb. He thinks, actually it's worse than that. He might not even think you're dumb. He thinks you are just like him. And the next clip I'm going to show you is going to tell you this exactly. He thinks that you do things for your own gain. Not that you're right, not that you're an arbiter of truth. You're trying to research and find the truth out, and you just want justice. No, you don't want that. You just want to be vengeful because it makes you feel good. Because that's what he does. He doesn't care about truth, doesn't care about anything. He thinks that you're just like him, a snake. And so snakes they just want to do this to own the libs. That's all they're out for. No, we would have never done this. Except for you were constantly, Dave's right, you were constantly owning the unvaxxed and owning the people who are just trying to figure things out and look at, dude, here's the thing. And throughout this whole debate, they constantly were like, well, doing your own research, and there was tons of different things. I'm not a scientist. I didn't even really do my own research. Simple common sense. When they started going, well, you get the vax, you won't spread it. Well, when you can spread it, but you won't get sick. But you will get sick, but it won't be as bad. Well, it will be as bad, but at least you won't get grandma sick. None of that made any sense. And the fact that they're like, well, all the unvaccinated could get the vaccinated. Those people, they can get sick if the unvaccinated are walking around. How? How is that? This thing's supposed to protect you. Why do you even care if I did or not? Why would you even care if this thing is what you say? So it was lies right off the bat. And anyone who had any sense was like, yeah, this is obviously a lie. I don't have to I don't need to watch a Joe Rogan episode with a different doctor coming on being like, well, I don't know about this. I don't have to do that. I can literally look at what you're doing and go, yeah, this is all BS. And the fact that he thinks that you're just calling it BS because you just want to own the libs, because that's what, then you're not really right. You just like to, it's not like you can't really win the argument. This is what he's saying. you can't win the argument. You just want to, throw in a jab here and there just to make yourself feel good. These people are despicable. Anyway, he's going to give it away on this very next clip, and then they're just watching these over again. Just I would love to crack jokes, but I don't even know what to do with these people anymore. I don't know what to do with these people, and that's going to lead into the next segment. But for right now, let me get to this next part. This, I think, is a telltale sign, and these are the only 3 clips I'm bringing up because to me they were the most important because it deals with the media and how they think, how they look at you, how they think about themselves. All the Joe Scarboroughs, all the MSNBCs, the Views, how they picture you, and if you're not just like them, then they can't figure it out. They can't figure out why middle America likes Trump because they're so far in their own bubble they don't understand anybody outside of it because they all just hang out with themselves. They all just regurgitate and throw up and then they eat it up. It's just a constant cycle, like a centipede or something, like a humans. If you took humans and centipedes and put them together, I don't know what you would call that. That's what it is. So we're gonna start this next clip. I'm gonna pull it back a little bit. So we'll watch a little bit of it and then we'll talk about it. This is towards the end. I want you to tell me what your thoughts are about this whole Chris Cuomo guy and what he's got to say about they're about to talk about actually I'm gonna go into it. Let's just watch it and I'll talk about it after.
No offense. There's been a significant fall off. And I think that's what's going on all throughout the country. And what's happening is that the most powerful people are trying to pit us against each other so that we're constantly fighting in a culture war so that we never all get together and realize that, you know what the left wing and the right wing of the culture war have in common? Both of their dollars been destroyed by the Federal Reserve. Okay? But that never gets covered on CNN. You know what I mean? Like I never see like a big segment about that. Hey, how come all those years having the #1 CNN show, not one segment about the secrecy of the Federal Reserve, the secrecy of the CIA? Instead, all we get from the corporate media is, I don't know, the unvaccinated, the Trump supporter, the Biden supporter, pitting Americans against each other and all the while blaming the American people for these problems.
Yeah.
When that's just not true. Most of the American people are good people. They want to take care of their family, go to work, be a member of their community, try to give their kids a little bit more than they had. That's what, and if we had a better media in this country, they would be laser focused on the halls of power and how corrupt they are. Because man, is there a lot of corruption going on at the top here.
Yeah, it's not fair to put it all in the media, though.
No, I'm not putting it all.
The media.
How about a lot? I'm putting a lot of it on the media.
The media is an echo of society.
He's wrong there. You can put a ton on the media. I mean, the media is technically considered like the 4th branch of the government. They're the other check and balance to the other 3. You can put a lot on them. And the only reason I say that is because that whole time and Dave talks about this in this debate, that whole time, you're supposed to keep them in check. But they just felt, and they're like, well, and he talks about this in the debate. He's like, well, I was just going by the scientists that, and Dave was like, I talked to scientists who were saying the opposite. And they're like, well, did they work at the NIH and the WHO? And he's like, no, you're a journalist. You're supposed to find out the information that they're not telling you. You're supposed to be going against the power to see if they're telling the truth. The fact that you just took it hook, line, and sinker and then just went with the narrative from the government, like that's the opposite of what you're supposed to do. But they're not journalists. They're not even real people. They hate you. They think you're stupid. And they think you're just as slimy as they are. And he's going to go into this. So let's continue. Because he's like, oh, it's not always the media. It was, I mean, Dave's right. It was a lot of the media. But now you're going to find out exactly what he thinks.
What you see in the media. Okay, then tell me this. What do you watch? What do you watch?
Pardon Live.
What do you watch? People watch what they like. People watch what confirms what they believe.
Yeah, but that's a really condescending way to look at people. Listen, let me just say something. So when I want to...
So you think you say a lot of things on your show because you think people aren't going to like them and they're not going to agree and they won't watch you anymore?
If you want to honestly ask this question, yes, there are a lot of times where I say things on my show that I know my audience will be upset with me for. There's a lot of times when I know there's positions where I could get way more eyes on me and grow my audience, but I don't take that
You are the
position.
most amenable libertarian I have ever talked to.
No, I'm just an honest person, man. And it's totally like, it's.
That's it. That's it. That's why old Chrissy Cuomo can't figure it out. He's not used to talking to honest people. We'll talk a little bit about this, but I think you guys are all fairly aware. There is an easy way to grift off online stuff. If you find a camp, go full in the paint. Just ignore the problems with your own side and just go full in the paint. It'll do you really well, especially with doing anything like this, like a podcast online. Um, it's common sense. If you ride the line, if you're milk toast, won't do you any favors. You'll be like me and just hang out in the middle where you don't really have a tribe. People are tribal specifically for that reason. And Chris Cuomo thinks that that's the name of the game. And Dave's like, no, he's just honest. And people who tell the truth do so because they care about the truth more than they care about followers or, reach or an audience or grift. And the cool thing about truth tellers is you can always tell when they're doing the best they can. They might be saying something wrong, but they're not lying to you. And that's the real difference. I listen to a bunch, and you probably do too, listen to a bunch of different voices from all over the place because you're a sane individual and you probably care about truth because you're not in the media game, right? You might not have a podcast, you might not have a show, you might not, you're watching these people talk. Everyone's in this media game. They're trying to make a name for themselves. So they're trying to get this or sponsorship. Notice that I never cut to commercial breaks. You want to know why? No sponsors. Probably going to be like that for all of history. And you're like, well, Dave is just doing this. He's pretty new at this. He's only been doing it for coming up on 5 years now and still not there. But I'm not a tribal guy. I'm probably not very likable. It's all fine. But there is something to be said that if you want to gain traction pretty quick is to pick a side, but it's a bit dishonest. And then you have to live with yourself after that. And I don't think Chris Cuomo has a problem with that. I don't think most of these media people have a problem with that because they sold their souls. And I could say that's on the right and the left, but I think it's more likely on the left. I know this is vice versa for you guys. I think it's more likely on the left for one reason. It's a common statement. They don't believe in truth. They only believe in power. Truth is relative. It's postmodern concept. Your truth is your truth. I have my truth. It's everybody's truth is their own truth, and it's all true, which is an asinine statement because if truth is if they're basically saying truth's not an absolute, but that statement itself to claim that would mean that you think truth is not being an absolute is an absolute truth itself. Anyway, we don't have to go into that. They're just dumb. But they're not dumb, they're malicious because they think truth is relative. So thus, standing by the truth doesn't mean anything. What you really need is power. And then that makes your truth more real than anyone else's. So they don't believe in truth, they believe in power. And that's where Chris's hang up is. He thinks everyone thinks that. He doesn't think anyone's real honest. That's why you can't figure out Dave here. Dave Smith and this Dave. He's never going to figure. And this is why all of these elitist media pundits and politicians are all up in their ivory towers and are like, what's with this America? Why won't they just follow suit? It's because they don't understand, because they don't believe in truth. They only believe in power. And so they can't figure out why all these people didn't fall for this propaganda machine. And here's another thing. This is my favorite thing to see online. Is all of these memesters always posting like, the $1 trillion U.S. propaganda machine coming at you with all these different things to kind of get you to do what you want. And people are just like, no, I'm not taking that because this funny meme over here. There's real power in telling the truth, even if it's through a meme, because it's universal. And I think people don't need a degree to spot BS. And so when you have people out there going like, no, this, if it works, then why do I need to get it? That kind of talk, that weird conspiracy theory talk, that going against the grain, it's just common sense. But they don't believe in truth or common sense. They only believe in power. They're like, well, we're giving these people free hamburgers and fries. Why wouldn't they get vaccinated? I don't understand this. Isn't it? This benefits them. It benefits them. It's because they don't believe in truth, and you do. And so if all else fails, stick to your guns always, and ride it out, and just try to figure out the truth the best as possible, because every day this propaganda machine is coming for you, because the only thing they know is having power over you, not whether or not you understand the truth. It's not about whether or not you know what's going on. It's about whether or not you believe what they're telling you is going on. Always. Absolutely always. It's always probably been that way. I think that's why people are always like, we should read some more books, because, books talk about time periods that are, especially dead people books. They talk about time periods, but that human experience is universal. Like we learn from the past, and so it's something that you pick up along the way. I talked about this last time I was on, but that propaganda machine's in full fledged this year because it's it's an election year, and they want you to think all kinds of things. But you're a smart person, and you're looking at these things like, hey, something's a little bit fishy. Let's talk about Trump, old Trumpy boy. 34 convictions. I mean, if you looked into it, you're like, well, I mean, the whole propaganda machine came right out. It was like, all right, everyone spread this out. Anytime you make a mention of Trump, always put convicted felon in front of it because that's the new narrative. But what I don't think they saw was the fact that once he got convicted of this, his donations skyrocketed. I saw a ton of people online. I mean, I was already kind of in the Trump train. I was like hanging loosely on the caboose in the back of the Trump train. Because I kind of knew what was going on. I was like, yeah, this trial is bogus. Like I looked into the facts. What is it? So he mislabeled the booking thing. Like I've seen politicians get away with way worse and no one cared. Why is it Trump? Because they just hate Trump. And they don't, for some reason, they don't want this guy in power, which all my libertarian friends are like, why? Trump's the same thing as a Democrat. They're all the same. But for some reason, the regime doesn't want him in there. And I can't figure out why. So either the Democrats and the libertarians are lying to me, or you know, that's probably most likely what it is, or Trump's part of the deep state. So I don't know. But either way, 34 convictions. I think most people out there, if you have any sense about it, you're like, well, this doesn't seem quite right. And if you look into, you're like, well, this seems like a bit of propaganda making me not want to like Trump because he's a convicted felon. Look, again, if you were on the Trump train, your grip just went white knuckled. You were on it. But it definitely seems like a lot of independents like myself were like, well, all right, so do you not like him, or is this a legit thing that's going on? Do you really think he's guilty of all these? Because I've been watching all these other trials about, you know, the documents of Mar-a-Lago and him selling his buying his property for a loan, him paying too much in taxes. Like it's so weird stuff happening, and they keep coming up being like, he's a terrible person. They made up Russia collusion. How am I supposed to believe anything after that? I remember, here's my favorite part. I remember every weekend SNL, this was back when I watched SNL, there was always a skit about the Mueller report and how dumb Donald Trump was for like a year straight. It was always making fun of Donald Trump, and they were all waiting for the Mueller report. And then it came out as a womp, womp, womp. All those things that you said were untrue. And then later on, we find out, oh, no, it was all funded by Hillary Clinton. That's a fun fact. Why is she not getting convicted? And so, you know, this whole thing is, this whole thing's fake. It's all fake. And the thing that worries me the most about this, well, number one, our society is falling apart. Our entire justice system's crumbling in front of your eyes. I don't know if you know that. Our dollar's falling apart as well. We're at the late stages of an empire. Like this, it's all coming down. Not to freak you out. Lo and behold, the world's going to continue going. Don't freak out on me yet. But this whole thing is a farce, and it was kind of like the frog in the pot boiling, and then they just cranked it. It's election year, so they just cranked the heat up. And the thing that worries me is, well, number one, most people saw this for what it was and was like, no, I'm out. Matter of fact, a ton of my libertarian friends, and I'm going to read a few of their tweets. They're like, no, this is, if they hate this man so much, I don't know how I don't vote for him. And I think that was pretty much here's a good one. I'm not going to pull it up. A guy I follow on Twitter, his name's Reed Coverdale. Coverdale, whatever his last name, who cares? He basically said he's a libertarian, pretty hardcore, maybe an anarchist. I don't know, whatever. He basically was like, I wasn't going to vote for Trump, but I hate the people that hate him more than I actually hate him. And I think that's a powerful motivator. And I think we saw that with him raising like $152 million in 3 days or whatever. I think America's waking up. That's the thing I like about Trump the most. I like Trump because whatever he is, it just separates all of the BS and highlights it. And you're like, well, Trump's lying all the time. Don't care. Whatever he is, you put him in something, like if Trump is like lifting up a rock and seeing the snakes fly around. Like that's what it feels like. Every time they do something to him, they show their hand blatantly. It's not even like 4D chess. It's like they're grasping at straws constantly. And so I wanted to say this. So however you feel about Trump on whatever side you are, that's fine. But the one thing I do keep hearing, and I'm going to go and put my money on this one. People are like, well, he's convicted. It was the whole like, well, he was indicted, but they're not going to, bring him to trial. Well, he was in trial, but they're not going to take a mugshot. Well, he got a mugshot, but they're not going to convict him. Well, he got convicted, but they're not going to put him in jail. I don't think you're thinking this far ahead. I'm about 95% sure they're going to try to put him in jail. And here's why. I don't think there's any going back now. And I'll talk about that in a little bit too. I don't think once you play your poker hands this far in, you can't just go, well, maybe we'll come back. We'll pull this back a little bit. I know he just raised a ton of money and got a bunch of support from this, but I'll pull it back a little bit. I don't think they're going to do that. Number one, again, they're in their bubble. After this, a ton of polls came out. I think Morning Joe, I didn't bring his clip up, was like, look at Trump's support. It fell after he was convicted. Everyone's seeing for the felony is the criminal. And you look around and you're like, well, like that was one poll out of these 75 others that shown like he gained a ton of support. And so it's all propaganda. They're all lying to you. And I think they're eating it up. So I think they're thinking Trump is losing support. And the icing on that's one. They don't believe that you notice. They actually think Trump is losing support. The other option is they know he's gaining support, and that makes them partially irritated. But it also makes them want to play their second hand and play it in front of you. Because again, we know they're lying. They know that we know they're lying, and they don't care. Matter of fact, they would like to play their upper hand just to tell you how powerful they are. So them not putting Trump in jail does not seem like an option. I think they would. And I think they know that it was a fake trial. And I think they know that that would be crossing the Rubicon a step too far. And I don't think they care. I don't think they care. And you're like, David, that seems a little harsh. Would they really do something like that? Look, if you look hindsight circa 2020, I would never underestimate these people. Never underestimate this whole entire machine. This machine's rolling down the tracks. It's do or die this time. It's go big or go home. So you guys can recall this if it comes, this is supposed to be July 11th. If he gets sentenced to house arrest, maybe that's an option. But him getting off completely, I don't see happening. And if it does, I'll be surprised because that means they're shifting tactics. But I don't see that with surprise. So I'm going to tell you. Here's a few tweets that came out. I'm going to show you, and this is my feelings about this whole Trump trial. I'm going to go to my friend Clinton Russell on X. I'm just going to read this tweet out. This is after the convictions. It was tens of millions of Americans believe Donald Trump was convicted of rape, that Russia got him elected through 1,000K in Facebook ads, and that he tried to overthrow the government when he was told his supporters to be peaceful and go home during January 6th. They also believe Vladimir Zelensky is some sort of storybook hero risking everything to defend his democracy. In reality, he's a C-list actor and a comic who played the piano with his boop. You guys can read that. And appears to be converting his State Department checks directly into cocaine while canceling the election and locking everyone up who opposed him. Just do a Google search on that one. Those same people are on their fourth booster and think the pandemic would have been over if you had just poisoned your body like they did. And they all believe that they are your superiors. Not only believe, they know. Setting aside politics for a moment, I don't know how we would ever coexist with these people again. I hate to say this, but I feel that. I feel that. And the idea of national divorce is looking more and more. Like I had a friend of mine after listening to this podcast, be like, David, seems like you're going off the rails a little bit. I'm not really going off the rails. Sometimes I speak in hyperbole, but this time I am being serious. I don't know what happens. And everyone says, well, what would be your best outcome? Look, if Trump hypothetically, if Biden gets elected this go round, no one's going to believe it on the other side. No one, myself included. At this point, I'm like, I don't know if I believe that. Not even sure. But here's the thing. It doesn't matter if I believed it or not. It is what it is. And I think that's the difference between going off the rails and not going off the rails. If Biden wins, you won't find me at the Capitol the next January around. I won't be there. But if Trump wins, same thing. They're not going to believe it. How did a convicted felon, when they're all in their own little bubbles, how did all these people vote for Trump? This thing was something happened. Russia colluded again. They got in our elections. They cheated out. This isn't going to go in. this is the thing, and I bring this up every once in a while. I'm going to bring it up to you. It's a little story I told. Matter of fact, you can go in the podcast way back. I had Larry Sharp, big libertarian in New York. First guy I ever voted for. Love Larry Sharp. Great libertarian. Phenomenal ideas. I love where his head's at. I love what he stands for. I love all of that. But I remember having him on the podcast, and he was talking about how every election comes around, everyone tells you this is the most important election ever. Like, you have to vote for our parties, this party or this party, because it's the most important election. It'll never be the same. It's the end of democracy, like we're hearing from the left all the time. You never hear the end of democracy from the right that much. And if they do say it, it's from communism. It has nothing to do with the election. They're like, it's the end of democracy because our justice system's locking people up. The FBI's raiding Alex Jones, like we saw this week. Steve Bannon's going to jail for like 4 months just for avoiding a subpoena that Hunter Biden avoided as well. Totally two-tiered justice system. We're not getting the same thing. So that's their pointing out. The democracy died a long time ago. But the left is, we got to protect democracy. It's not democracy they're talking about. It's just their power, because they don't believe in democracy. There's no truth. It's just power. Anyway, long rant. I forgot where I was going with that. Oh, yeah, I don't know how this works out come this election, unless some aliens, I don't know, maybe aliens, maybe Jesus comes back. That'd be cool. I don't know if he'll show up before this election. I don't know if the U.S. election is. Oh, this is what I was going to say. I don't think the U.S. is number one. I don't know if this election's high on Jesus's priority right now. I know all the Christian evangelicals are like, blasphemy. But yeah, I don't think so. So Larry Sharp said, everyone says it's always the end of this is the end of our democracy. You can't vote. You got to vote for the two party. He says, but every year it's the same thing. It doesn't matter who you vote for. They always tell you it's the end, and it's never the end. Well, I feel like I was, and I don't think he did this on purpose. I feel like I was a bit lied to by my libertarian friends, because this last 3 years were totally different than the 4 before that, and the 4 before that, and everything kind of teetered off before that. But over the past 7-8 years, nothing's been the same. And I don't know how you can go and look at this election and be like, well, it doesn't matter if it's Trump or Biden. We're still going to get the same thing. I don't think that's even logical. I don't think that's probable. I'm not even sure if that's plausible. But I don't think you could look at this and be like, well, if Trump gets in, it's the same wars, and it's the same thing. He'll try to attempt to build the wall. If Biden gets in, they're the same person. I think you could have said that by like a hardcore rhino, like somebody like the John McCain, if he was still alive, if he was in, you could say that, but I don't think so anymore. I think this Trump thing is throwing things off, and I think people are cluing in on it. So let me share that. So that was one tweet. I'm gonna share another one with you. This is another guy I follow. His name's DC Drano. This is what he had to say, and he said, "Crazy how we have proof." Biden. That's a good one. Biden should make that shirt. Biden 2024. Obama, Biden, Clapper, Comey, and Clinton worked together illegally to spy on Trump. Campaign funds pay for the Steele dossier, illegal wiretap, nobody charged with any felonies, but Trump marks a legal expense as a legal expense and gets 34 felonies. Insane. The thing about that, and you could read that, and if you're on the left, be like, all right, look, it was told that 34, he marked 34 legal expenses. That's that's downplaying the real crime. That's not wrong. Look into it. That's what it is. It was just like I wrote the wrong thing. That was it. And it wasn't the crime he was committing, wasn't even for a crime. It's not like he was trying to cover up for a crime. There was no crime he committed. He just labeled something wrong on his books 34 times. Maybe a misdemeanor. Nope, felonies. Felonies, guys. They think you're dumb, or they think you're just as evil as they are. That's what this is. It only comes down to that. It's either ignorance, or it's I don't think it's ignorance on their part this time. I don't think they're stumbling into the courtroom accidentally convicting their political opponents. I don't think anything like that's happening. I think they're doing it specifically on purpose. I will say this because I said this last time. I think I said this last time. I don't think it's a coordinated effort by this deep state regime. I don't think so. I think it's a lot of individual players out for their own interests. These people, I don't think these people have integrity, and I don't think I think they walk in lockstep, but only for their own benefit. The left eats their own all the time. And we saw that with that protest recently, where it was like the gays for Palestine, and then pro-Palestine supporters clashing and be like, it's our gay parade. And they're like, no, genocide. And they'll eventually eat they'll eat themselves. They always do. You just gotta give it enough time. And so I think these people are self-interested, and that's why we're seeing all this. I don't think there's a top down, but I could be wrong. Maybe there is a giant regime. But again, you guys are all going, well, David's going off the deep rails again. Nope, just paying attention. Probably a little too much. Just paying attention a little too much. All right, let's talk about something a little bit. I think I went through all my stuff. Oh, by the way, Biden pooped his pants in France. Did he really do it? No, he might have just had dementia. I think looking for a fake chair. I'm not even going to play the clip because you've seen the clip. Do with that what you will. Do you guys remember back when Trump was president and they were really trying to get him for the 25th? They're like, look at Trump, the way he holds his water. Mental illness. They should kick him out of office. What happened to that whole thing? Remember, they're like, well, we'll do the 25th Amendment. We'll bring that up. Because Trump definitely doesn't seem like he's capable of running office. Everyone forgot about that thing as soon as Biden got in. That's not even brought up. Not even by the right side. Maybe it is. I don't know. I don't pay attention that much. I don't know. Maybe if I mean, I don't know how they haven't, but I think if they haven't, it's probably because they really want Biden to run this year, because it's fish in a barrel at this point. So anyway, back on the Trump thing. So I know a lot of libertarians were upset about this convention, hardcore lefty. Here's my statements about the LP nomination real quick. I love all my libertarian friends. I'm big friends with them, big fans of them. They elected a guy I was not going to go for. I've known about Chase for a long time. I've watched his stuff, and it was like I think I followed him on Twitter, and after like 3 tweets, I was like, no, never mind. Wait, this was way back in the day. Everyone's like, well, what's your problem with this? Is it because he's okay with puberty blockers at a minor age? Yeah, I have a problem with that. Is it because he's just a hardcore lefty? Yeah, I have a problem with that. Does he seem untrustworthy? Yeah, I have a problem with that. Did he seem like he played dirty politics to win his election? Yeah, I have a problem with that too. My biggest issue with Chase, why I couldn't vote for him, is because he fell for the propaganda. Again, you guys know my shtick is I hate people who here's the thing. I hate the media because of all the lies they tell. But the thing that was most irritating is a ton of people fell for it and were used as useful idiots. You remember people telling on their neighbors when they were having barbecues during COVID? Yeah, it's our boy Chase. I mean, he didn't do that. Well, he might have. I wouldn't put it past him to have done that because he totally fell hook, line, sinker for the propaganda. If I'm going to vote libertarian, I need my candidate to at least smell small amounts of BS when it's confronted with them. And he doesn't seem like he has that junction at all. Some great libertarian policies. Yeah, he's totally against war. I love that too. But people are like, well, why wouldn't you vote for him? Here's the thing. Again, Trump or Biden in office, it's not like it's the same thing. I don't know how delusional you could be to think so. And if you do believe, they're like, well, we need to get 3% because then we keep our ballot access because it's the long game. One day we'll get a libertarian president. Sure. If Biden doesn't Macron it and cancel the elections or Zelensky, these are still on the. You guys forget they're like, well, this normalcy bias that everyone has. We're like, well, they'll never put him in jail. They'll never convict him. They'll never indict him. They'll never raid a Mar-a-Lago. That's normalcy bias, and that thing should be burned away by now. You should be fully skeptical of everything that's going on. But like, David, I don't have the mainframe to do it. Don't worry about it. I'll do it for you. Tune to Pardon Will Live on Sunday nights at 8:30. And I'll do all the skepticism for you. But yeah, that normalcy bias thing is dumb. And so libertarians probably going to get less than 3% this year. If they might not even get 1%. I don't see myself. To be honest, I have a hard time judging whether I'm going to vote. If it wasn't Trump, maybe if it was DeSantis, I'd have been like, well, all right, man, that one's a hard one. But if it was somebody, Chris Christie or Nikki Haley, say the Republicans ran Nikki Haley for president. Easily libertarian ticket. I would have voted up and down libertarian. Unless it was Chase. And then I would be, God, RFK. I'd probably be voting for RFK at that point in time. Despite all the crazy stuff he's tweeted out. I think his heart's in the right place. I don't think he's BSing anybody. I'm really just going for honesty here. If I can just get someone to not lie to me, they might get my vote. But that's so in high demand and very scarce to find a politician that won't lie to you. Trump is doing the best job so far. And I still think I don't know if Trump lies as much as people say he does. Matter of fact, there was a comment on Twitter being like, "Do you think Trump, with all these VP candidates, do you think he made a deal with the deep state and that's how he's going to go?" My response was, "Dude, if he made a deal with the deep state, he would tell everybody about it. That's like what he does. When he makes a good deal, he tells everybody. He would never keep that under. If it's a good deal, he would never keep that a secret. It'd be the first thing he did. He'd go on camera and be like, 'I made a good deal with the deep state. They offered me this. We're going to take this. We're going to make America great again.'" He would tell everybody. So you don't have to worry about Trump. It's not like he can keep secrets, especially if it's a good one. So yeah, no, I think Trump's my boy. Unless something, here's the thing. Everyone's like, these MAGA guys. Again, I wish I could be MAGA. I'm not that full-fledged into any tribe. It would do me really. Here's the thing. If I came out full on, I'm MAGA now, I had the hat on, the gold shoes, did all that stuff, all these online people. If I did that, it would be great for viewers and stuff, and like and subscribes. Don't forget to like and subscribe, you jabronis. It would be great for that, but I'm just not here for it. I couldn't lie that well. You guys would know. You guys would know pretty quick. But I will say this: I'm 100%. I may not be MAGA. I'm not even sure exactly what that means. It's kind of like woke. Can't really be defined. It's just America first, I think. And I'm definitely pretty much America first. And so maybe I fall in the MAGA camp. But I will say I'm 100% behind Trump at this point in time, because I don't, again, I kind of go to what Reed said. Like, I hate the people that hate Trump more than I hate Trump. I don't really hate Trump that much. So this was pretty easy. And so I'd like to see him. So I'm voting for Trump unless something crazy comes out. Oh, here's the thing. I was like, what would be the crazy thing that could come out about Trump that would pull my vote away? I'd be like, I wouldn't, because there's got to be something, and there is something. If somehow the Epstein list drops and Trump's name's on it, I'm pulling it away. Here's the thing. It may or may not be. We'll never see it. You want to know why? Because everybody else's name is on that list. So it's the one thing that we'll know we'll never get. Because if Trump's on that, Biden's is too, Clinton, Obama, everybody's on that list. And so they'll never release it. So we'll never get that option anyway. Maybe if Trump kicks a puppy, I don't know, Chrissy Gnomes it, just shoots it in the backyard. I'd be like, I don't know if no, I'm still voting for him. I don't know, guys. I don't know what to tell you at this point in time. I'm in it. I'm not going to get the hat, but I'm definitely going to vote for Trump. I hope you do too. And if you don't, like, hey, I like Biden, then vote for Biden. That's fine. I listened to a DeSantis supporter this week tell me that would vote for Biden because she wants Biden to win so they can usher in Ron DeSantis in 2028. And here's the thing. I made to mention this to a friend of mine. This is the funny thing about the DeSantis crew that are still holding on for some reason. He's not running anymore, but they're really hoping for 2028, so they don't care. And I said, but they're always talking about these MAGA people being in a cult. Trump can do no wrong. We criticize Trump all the time. If he builds FBI, that might be a game changer. If he's like, yeah, I'm still building the FBI, a new building, then I don't know how I could vote for this guy. Maybe he's going to riddle it with booby traps. I don't know. We'll talk about that when it comes about. But this DeSantis supporter was like, yeah, I wouldn't mind Biden winning because I want to bring Ron in. And so you're telling me you're more concerned about your candidate winning than your country being around. And you're going to call people in the MAGA camp cultists. They care about their country. If Trump, if something happened to Trump, he just went on. He's like, what? I'm done with this. I'm going on vacation. Vivek, take my spot. Do you know who all the MAGA people would vote for? It ain't Joe Biden, and it ain't RFK. And it's definitely not Chase Oliver. They'd vote for Vivek. If it was DeSantis, they probably vote for DeSantis too, because they care about their country, not their candidate. But DeSantis people seem to care about the candidate and don't really give a rat's about the country. Leftists here in that category too, because I don't know how you're still backing up this Biden guy. Oh boy. I mean, literally backing up, holding him up, not just metaphorically, physically at this point in time. When he's not squatting over, pooping his pants in France. Anyway, I went super long. We're almost an hour. I'm going to give you my thoughts on this Acolyte. Disney drops Acolyte. I was going to show. Oh, you know what? Speaking of propaganda, we're not going to do that. I had a thing. Speaking of propaganda, you guys know I like those Disney Marvel movies, and you're like, David, it's all propaganda. It's Disney. No, sometimes it's a cool story. They do well. I'm going to bring it up. I'm going to do an episode, the correlations between Marvel and politics. I'm not going to leave you hanging. Trust me. I got you. I love that stuff. I love Star Wars. Always have. Always will. Hate some of the Star Wars that come out. Still like the brand. Still like it. Here's the thing. I like Oreos. Some of the flavors they came out with a sour. Here's the thing. I love Oreos and Sour Patch Kids. They came out with a Sour Patch Kid Oreo. Disgusting. I'm not in a cult. Just because it's Sour Patch Kids and Oreos doesn't mean I love it. And they're not a sponsor. Obviously, we talked about that. I don't have any sponsors, so I can say what I want. I'll tell you the truth. Don't mix Oreos and Sour Patch Kids. It's gross. Anyway, speaking of propaganda, it's an election year, so all your favorite celebrities came out. And they have a video for you. So we're gonna watch this guy. I'm gonna tee him up. I'm gonna tee it up. Let's do this. They got something to say. I don't know what it could be. I bet you can guess. Let's listen to them real quick.
You have an obligation
to be a part of that decision.
You might think it's not important. You might think you're not important.
But that's not true. And the only way we can prove that to you is by having lots of famous people.
Lots of famous people.
Lots and lots of famous people.
Just a shit ton of famous people.
But you only get this many famous people together if the issue's
One that truly matters to all of us.
a disease or
ecological crisis or
A racist, abusive coward who could permanently damage the fabric of our society.
All right. Here's the funny thing about this clip. I get it. The comedy is meta. They're like, if we bring all these famous people together, it's got to be serious. But the joke's on them because we know the joke, because that's literally would have been all our responses. These are actors. They get paid to say the line. Now, here's the thing. I think they believe it, especially that Ruffalo guy. He won't shut up about it online. So I know he's full in the sauce. They really think Trump's a racist and he's going to destroy the country further than it's already been destroyed. But apparently none of these people were around for that whole 4-year span when he was president. And they were. What were they looking? Oh, they were watching SNL, talking about how he's Russia collusion. And the funny thing is, they're like, they still think he's a Russian asset, even after all the evidence came out. I was like, no, this was just paid for by your running mate, Hillary Clinton. Like, no, he's definitely evil. I know we just dealt with 4 years of him, but he's definitely evil. These people are delusional. But I do like how they acknowledge the fact they were like, this is serious. We all got paid to be here, so somebody's really mad about this Trump guy. Again. We say it. I love Iron Man. He's even got a cool Iron Man shirt with a heart on it. He can take his political takes and shove them straight up his iron suit. Whatever you want to do with that. Yeah, all these people, they're bought and paid for, and they don't care. But here's the thing: they don't know who you are. They don't know who I am. They don't watch Pardon One Live. They don't watch anything you do. But they don't care about you. They care about whatever they got going on, which is fair. They should. Hollywood's doing whatever. I mean, actually, Hollywood's not doing very good. Do you think they don't. I don't know. Maybe they don't know that Hollywood's not doing good. Maybe I'm being lied to and told that Hollywood's still doing good. I watched the first 2 episodes of The Acolyte. I've got some things to say about that, and I will in a little bit. But anyway, let's finish this up. Let's see what they all got to say about old Trumpster.
Do the math.
Do we really want to give nuclear weapons to a man whose signature move is firing?
Firing.
Bro. Every time they bring up the firing apprentice thing for Trump. Look, bro, they're mad because that's a signature move, and Republicans are mad because he didn't do it enough. I hope, I already like the guy. You're just selling me on him more. And I know they're talking about nuclear, codes and or a guy who likes to fire him. Well, we had peace that whole time he was in office. And as soon as Biden comes in, all hell breaks loose, almost literally. And so, plus they're like, oh, you really want Biden to have nuclear codes when he might get them mixed up with whatever other buttons he's fumbling around for his been gay? I don't know. I don't have any jokes about this. It's starting to we're just beating up on an old man at this point in time. But these people, I hope there's one that's self-aware and be like, guys, are we really doing this? Here's the thing, because it reminds me of that whole thing. You guys remember back in COVID? Again, hindsight 2020. You remember COVID? All the celebrities came out. We're like, we're all in this together. And they're like sipping their champagne in their mansions. And you were sitting back being like, I can't go to work. How am I going to pay for my groceries? A $1,300 check for real? That's what I'm getting. And Nancy Pelosi's like, I care about you. And she opens up her freezer where everyone can see all the 800 expensive ice creams she has. These people are delusional, man. And if you don't remember that and you weren't furious at that, I don't know how you take that and not do it, because they literally just mentioned it. Be like, it's important if they get all the celebrities together to sing Imagine by John Elton or John, whatever. That's a dumb song anyway. I don't care if he was a Beatle. Stupid song. But yeah, do you not remember? They got made fun of by a ton of people. I mean, maybe people like it. Maybe people watched this, because even the post that was posted this on Twitter was like, Trump supporters don't want you watching this. Bro, I'm playing it on my podcast. It's that ridiculous. No one cares about these people anymore. I don't care what whatever Robert Downey Jr. thinks. I don't care about him. Like, we're at the point where celebrities, no one even watches the Emmys anymore. No one cares about actors patting themselves on the back for a job they do. You know what the funny thing is? I know a ton of plumbers. They don't give each other awards. Why don't they? I know firefighters. They ain't getting no awards, and they're out there saving lives. What are you doing? You're acting and you're giving each other awards. It's just these people are just obsessed with themselves, and so I don't care about their opinions. You shouldn't either. We'll continue it because why not? Why not? Let's just finish this out.
Firing things?
But we can end this nightmare before it begins.
We can save the day.
For our children.
For our children.
For our children.
For our communities.
For our communities.
For our non-binary children.
For our communities.
For what community? Your Hollywood community? You don't... What community? Your elitist Hollywood Beverly Hills community?
America.
For America.
For America.
All right, so I had to... the only reason I played that is to get to that one chick. I forgot what she's in. For America. And she's fake crying. You guys know these people are actors, right? Are we supposed to... She thinks... Here's the thing. This is why this is most ridiculous. That actor with the teary eyes. She thinks she's such a good actor. She's going to pretend to cry when saying America. And you're going to be like, oh my God, she really cares about America. They think you're dumb, guys. They think you're dumb. They think you're sheep. They think you're an idiot. And if anything, if they're like, well, thank God these Americans aren't very smart, because if they were, they'd be just as evil as we are. They think you're dumb. Treat them with contempt, because that's what they deserve. Anyway, still love my Star Wars. Still love my Marvel. Let's talk about Star Wars real quick. Acolyte, first 2 episodes dropped real fast. Actually enjoyed it. I know I watched all the clips before. Like David, the director was like, we're going to make it super gay. Like, I get it. I'm still waiting for it. I know it's coming. I went into this thinking like this is going to be nothing but Rainbow Hour. Instead, it was campfires in space, which I thought was the most ridiculous thing ever. Again, I'm not sure. All right, what was the point of that? Can we talk about that? I don't know if you've seen this first episode. A fire happens on a spaceship in space, and they have to go out and use an extinguisher, like a campfire, like crackling, like a crackling campfire in the vacuum of space. I don't know if you took any kind of science as an elementary school. You know that there's no oxygen. There's nothing. You can't have a fire in space. It's in a vacuum. It's sucking on stuff, whatever. They think you're dumb, or they're dumb and they don't know. This is the hard time. I can't parse out whether or not they think you're dumb or they are really just dumb. Either way, suspend your disbelief. Campfires in space. I'm going to let it go. Waiting for the super woke stuff. Never really happened, other than the fact that, I mean, they haven't made a point of it. The majority of the characters could be lesbians. I don't know. They're not focusing on their sexuality, which is all we ever ask. Like, that's it. Like, that's it. Just don't bring it up, because I'm not here for them. I'm here for the lightsaber stuff. I'm here for the cool lore, the force moves. I don't care about who you like and who you don't like. But apparently they like things, and they think everyone cares about. Again, they think everyone cares about the things they care about, which is power. They don't care about truth. And the truth is, we don't care who these people like and what their political beliefs are. We just want to see them swing around glowing swords and move things with their mind. That's it. Anyway, I will say this about it so far. They haven't ruined it. First 2 episodes are pretty good. The one thing I did notice is they must have spent a ton of money, because in this, compared to all the other series, ton of aliens. Like, not just like, oh, they painted their skin blue. Like, great prosthetic aliens. Like, cool looking, creative aliens all over the place. Even some just walking by. Like, it was a 10-second shot. Not like dialogue, just in the background. They spent money on that. Good for them. Thank you. I finally am like, I was like, this is pretty good. Artistically, pretty good episodes. I enjoyed them. The other thing I noticed too is their planets were interesting. It wasn't like, hey, we're in space. I talked about this with Ahsoka. Like, hey, we got all these planets we can go to. Which ones are we on again? Oh, a desert planet. That's great. What's the other planet? An ice planet. These are the 2 we get. Ice and desert. Really nothing else. Oh wait, there's a forest, but all the trees are red and depressing. Like, that's it. Not this series. This series, you're getting all kinds of cool stuff. Cool planets, cool plants, cool colors, very whimsical. Storyline's pretty cool so far. I'm digging it. Some of the things they're pulling out, some of the Force stuff they're pulling out, I'm okay with. Do love Jedi stuff, and so you're not gonna miss me with that. Is it gonna go woke? Almost guaranteed. But here's look, if you're gonna give money to Disney, at least try to enjoy it where you can. Don't let your kids watch it alone. I wouldn't do that. But if you're gonna enjoy some Star Wars, look, I like having a Disney account because I love going back and watching the old Iron Man, and I can't put a DVD into my iPad because that's normally what I watch it on. So yeah, I'm all for it. And so that's where I'm at. And I'm going to talk about this. So buckle up, Buttercup. We're going to be talking about the Acolyte. And I'm going to probably be dissing it here next week. Oh my God, next week I'm probably be like, do you know what they did? I told you they were probably going to do. They went super woke. And they'll probably go broke, but it doesn't matter. Anyway, actors are going to act. The left is going to left. They're going to be leftists. They're going to do it. Don't expect anything out of them, except for like a few of them that come out. Like a few comedians and a few actors come out and they're like, yeah, this left-wing stuff, they'll eventually come around. Here's the sad part. I'll end it with this. All of these lefty Hollywood types, they're all like, Donald Trump's going to destroy America. Give it 10 years. They're going to come out and they'll be like, no, that Joe Biden guy was awful. What are you talking about? I didn't say that. I didn't vote for Biden. You think I could vote for? Because all the Overton window is going to shift, hopefully. Hopefully it shifts. And all these people who are hardcore leftists are going to come around to be center. We're like, no, I was kind of in the center the whole time, I didn't think Trump was a racist. They're those stupid people. They're going to lie to you because that's what they do. They're liars and they're crooks and they don't believe in truth. They don't believe in power. And that's all they got to stand on. So they're going to lie to you if they get paid to tell you the lines. So why wouldn't they? Anyway, don't be too sad. There are people out there like Dave Smith telling the truth, like Dave Lilly telling you the truth. A ton of people out there just going to tell you. I mean, I could be lying. It's not that I'm doing it intentional, but you guys would know better because you're smart. You got your head on a swivel. That's why you're watching Parwood Live. Anyway, love you guys. Hope you have a great week. Sorry I was gone for 2 weeks. Did a lot of catching up. Did a lot of ranting. I'll hopefully have more jokes. Not a lot of jokes, but I'm still pretty pissed about 2020. Never going to let that go. And the Dave and Cuomo debate just brought that back up. So anyway, be kind to your family and be kind to your pets. I'm trying to come up with a cool end slogan, but I don't have one. God bless.